We've all seen the movies, right? The ones that make you think twice about swimming in the ocean. We hear the stories, the chilling encounters. For most people, the ultimate ocean predator is the great white shark, maybe 20 feet long, a perfect killing machine that's become an icon of deep-sea terror. Or maybe you think of the tiger shark, with those unmistakable teeth, or the aggressive bull shark that can even swim up rivers. They're formidable, no doubt. But here's the thing. What if today's top sharks are just echoes, faint shadows of something far terrifying from Earth's past? We're talking about the true ancestor of oceanic fear, a giant whose name alone is enough to send a shiver down your spine. Imagine this. Marine biologists surveying a remote coastline stumble upon something embedded in the cliffside. Not a shipwreck, not just whale bones, but massive, fossilized vertebrae. And scattered around them, enormous serrated teeth, each one easily the size of your hand. The creature that left those teeth wasn't just big. It was on a scale that's hard to truly comprehend. Welcome to Megalodon, and join us on the journey. What if Megalodon was still alive today? The terrifying truth about the apex shark. So the scientific hunt began. Not to capture a living monster, but to piece together its life and its eventual extinction from scattered fossil clues. One thing was clear. Megalodon didn't share the planet with dinosaurs. It arrived much later, during an age when mammals already dominated the land and sea. This apex predator was a product of the Miocene epoch, which began around 23 million years ago. It survived into the Pliocene, before vanishing completely about 3.6 million years ago. That's a long reign, tens of millions of years, during a time when the oceans were warmer and sea levels were higher than they are today. It was the perfect stage for the rise of a true oceanic superpredator. Those massive teeth were the primary evidence. By comparing the ratio of tooth size to body length in modern sharks, researchers started calculating Megalodon's size. The results were staggering. Forget 20 feet or even 30. Scientific models, refined over years with new fossil finds like rare vertebrae, suggest a fully grown Megalodon could stretch 50 to 60 feet long, possibly even more. Picture a shark longer than a school bus, almost as long as a bowling lane. And that incredible size meant incredible weight. Estimates place Megalodon's mass somewhere between 110,000 and 130,000 pounds. Some recent 3D reconstructions push that figure even higher, suggesting it could have topped 100 tons. That's heavier than many adult humpback whales, potentially rivaling or exceeding the weight of a large sperm whale. But Megalodon wasn't just a brute. Its body, reconstructed from fossil evidence and comparisons with modern giants, was the blueprint of a perfect predator. A colossal torpedo shape, covered in tough sharkskin likely even thicker than today's sharks. Powerful muscles propelled that massive frame through the water, capable of explosive speed for ambush attacks. Its fins were equally supersized. 3D modeling shows that Megalodon's dorsal fin alone could have stood as tall as a grown adult. And that massive crescent-shaped tail, it would have generated an incredible amount of thrust. It likely possessed senses honed to perfection for hunting. A sense of smell detecting prey from miles away. A sensitive lateral line picking up vibrations in the water. And densely packed ampullae of Lorenzini on its snout detecting the faint electrical fields of hidden animals. In its prime, a full-grown Megalodon had virtually no natural rivals. It was the ultimate apex predator. So, what does a creature that massive, that well-armed, actually eat? Definitely not small fish. To fuel such an enormous body, Megalodon needed big meals. The fossil record tells a clear story. Its preferred prey were large marine mammals, especially the medium to large whales common during the Miocene and Pliocene. Paleontologists have found countless fossilized whale bones bearing Megalodon's signature, huge, serrated bite marks. These aren't random bites. They're often found on ribs, vertebrae, and crucially, on the flippers and tail bones. This suggests a brutal hunting strategy. Megalodon might have first immobilized its prey by biting off flippers or flukes, then delivered a killing blow to the whale's chest or abdomen. Some of its known victims include medium-sized baleen whales like Cetathurium, early toothed whales, and perhaps even competitors such as the giant predatory whale Leviathan melville. Beyond whales, Megalodon likely dined on large seals and giant sea turtles, whose thick shells offered little protection. Megalodon teeth have been found in oceans all around the world, from North and South America to Europe, Africa, Australia, and Asia. This suggests the shark had a truly global range, especially thriving in warm, temperate coastal waters. All this evidence reinforces the idea that Megalodon didn't just prey on large animals. It preyed on other predators. It wasn't just the biggest predator. It was the apex predator of its time, reshaping entire marine ecosystems for millions of years. At the heart of this destroyer machine called Megalodon was its jaw. Based on tooth size and reconstruction models, scientists estimate that Megalodon's jaws could open up to 9 feet wide and 11 feet tall, large enough to swallow 2 adult humans standing side by side without effort. Inside that jaw was an arsenal of terror. Around 276 triangular, thick, serrated teeth arranged in 5 terrifying rows. Like modern sharks, Megalodon constantly shed its teeth and grew new ones throughout its life. That's why fossilized teeth are the most common remains we have of this species. But these teeth weren't just sharp, they were engineered for destruction. Razor sharp and incredibly tough, built to slice through thick blubber, solid muscle, and most importantly, bone. And then there's the bite force. Using the size of its teeth, the structure of its jaws, and comparisons with living animals, scientists have estimated that Megalodon's bite force ranged from 24,395 to 40,960 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, that's at least 6 to 10 times more powerful than the bite of a great white shark. It roughly 3 times stronger than the estimated bite of Tyrannosaurus rex. It even dwarfs the bite of the largest living saltwater crocodiles. This was a bone-crushing force, powerful enough to shatter the ribcage of a medium-sized whale in a single bite, or pierce through the armored shells of ancient sea turtles with ease. It is the strongest bite force ever estimated for any animal in Earth's history. One bite from Megalodon meant instant, catastrophic death. But even the undisputed king of the ancient oceans couldn't rule forever. Megalodon's reign didn't end in a climactic battle. Its downfall was slow, insidious, and driven by an enemy it couldn't fight, the changing planet itself. Towards the end of the Pliocene, about 3 to 4 million years ago, Earth began to cool significantly. Factors like the closure of the Isthmus of Panama altered global ocean currents, contributing to this cooling trend. Massive ice sheets formed at the poles, kicking off the Pleistocene Ice Age. This global cooling drastically altered the oceans. Waters grew colder, shrinking the warm habitats Megalodon preferred. By the end of the Pliocene epoch, around 3 to 4 million years ago, Earth began entering a global cooling phase. Massive ice sheets started forming at the poles, marking the beginning of the Pleistocene Ice Age. The oceans grew significantly colder, and Megalodon's once sprawling habitat began to shrink. As vast amounts of water were locked away in growing continental ice caps, global sea levels dropped. Warm, shallow coastal waters, the nurseries where young Megalodons were born and raised, began to vanish. Losing these protected zones left the juveniles more exposed to predators and increasingly harsh environmental conditions. But the most devastating blow may have come from the food chain itself. Shifting climates and changing ocean currents disrupted the distribution of nutrients across the seas. Megalodon's main food sources began to change. Some prey species likely went extinct. Others adapted and migrated to colder, higher latitude waters, where nutrient-rich upwellings became more abundant. Megalodon, restricted by its preference for warm waters, may have struggled to follow. And even if it did, the new prey, faster, more evolved whales, may have been too difficult to hunt effectively. At the same time, new predators emerged and began to diversify. The modern great white shark appeared and may have competed directly with juvenile or smaller megalodons for food. Large, highly social toothed whales also evolved, some of which may have hunted young megalodons or their prey, placing even more pressure on the already weakening population. And here lies the tragic irony. The apex predator, the seemingly unstoppable giant of the deep, didn't die in a final epic battle against a worthy rival. It died slowly from hunger and cold. It was left behind, outpaced by evolution and the very changes in the ecosystem it once ruled. Its extinction wasn't a dramatic explosion, but a long, slow fade that may have taken hundreds of thousands, even 1,000,000 years to complete. Megalodon went completely extinct around 3.6 million years ago. Within the scientific community, there's no real doubt about that. There is no credible evidence suggesting that it survived in ocean trenches like the Mariana Trench or anywhere else, for that matter. But even though it vanished from the Earth, Megalodon continues to live a second life haunting the human imagination. It has become the ultimate symbol of the sea monster, an endless source of inspiration for Hollywood blockbusters. And that brings us back to our original question. What if Megalodon were still alive today? Let's imagine, seriously for a moment, if a 60-foot, 60-ton predator with a bite strong enough to crush steel were still patrolling our oceans, the consequences would be catastrophic. Tourist beaches around the world would become death zones. Swimming, surfing, or even sailing in small boats along warm coastal waters would become acts of suicide. Entire economies built on seaside tourism could collapse. Fishing fleets, especially those targeting tuna, swordfish, or even whales, would face an immediate threat. A single megalodon could destroy a medium-sized fishing vessel without effort or treat a net full of fish like a self-service buffet. Its presence would completely destabilize modern marine ecosystems. Populations of large whales like humpbacks, blues, and sperm whales already under threat from human activity would now have to contend with an incredibly efficient apex predator. The resulting decline in their numbers could ripple throughout the entire oceanic food chain. And if you were out sailing and saw a shadow glide beneath your boat, how would that feel? Or worse, if you were diving and saw a wall of muscle and teeth charging out of the darkness. The truth is, we humans are completely unequipped for that kind of encounter. We are too small, too slow, too fragile. So, could we fight back? If given time to prepare, could modern technology handle a megalodon? In theory, yes. Navies might use torpedoes, depth charges, or heavy weaponry to take it down. But the real problem lies in detection. Tracking a single shark in the vast, mysterious expanse of the ocean is an almost impossible task. In reality, the best defense would simply be to stay away. But maybe the more important question is this: do we even want to live in a world like that? Or is it, perhaps, a blessing that all we have left of Megalodon are fossilized teeth and stories? Megalodon was not just a shark. It was the apex of marine evolution, a creature born to rule the seas. It reminds us how fragile even the greatest among us can be when nature changes course. We often romanticize dinosaurs and mammoths, but Megalodon was different. It lived in a world eerily similar to our own oceans, hunting animals that still have modern relatives, swimming in waters that lap at our shores today. Its bones lie silent in stone, but its story continues to ripple through our fears and our dreams. If Megalodon still lived, we wouldn't be the rulers of the seas. We'd be the prey. Our journey into the world of Megalodon ends here. Thank you so much for joining us on this fascinating trip back in time. Goodbye and see you in the next video.